someone calls out our privilege, things can quickly turn confrontational. This is where your goodish mindset that we talked about earlier kicks in. Because we initially think, ooh, privilege, that's a bad thing, but I'm not bad, so this accusation's wrong and I'm gonna fight it. We make the conversation about ourselves, taking away the focus from the barriers and inequities that are being reinforced by our very denial of that privilege. But what if instead we adopted our goodish mindset, which allows us to hold two ideas to be true at the same time, that we can indeed have privilege and be good people, that we can be privileged and use that privilege for good. Privilege refers to the relative advantage that you have because of some aspect of your identity. For example, there's white privilege and male privilege and economic privilege and education privilege. Privilege itself is not a good or bad thing. It's neutral. But the concept of privilege has been twisted in our everyday language. It's been reinterpreted by majority members as, when being told we have it, that we're supposed to feel guilty or wrong about it, which then makes us deny the accusation at all cost. Check your privilege has become an insult rather than a call to reflect on how certain aspects of your identity have advantaged you throughout your life, which you can use to help disadvantaged others. Being privileged does not mean your life has been easy. And it does not mean that you haven't faced struggles on your own. It just means that your life hasn't been made even more difficult because you belong to a certain group. You haven't had to face even extra struggles because of some aspect of who you are. Recognizing privilege is the first important step in redistributing unbalanced power to those who currently and have historically lacked it. Here's a few additional points about privilege. Privilege can be earned or unearned. Unearned privilege comes from things that you cannot control, like your skin color or the country in which you were born. Earned privilege includes things like education or amassing wealth. Both earned and unearned privileges advantage you in some way compared to someone who does not have that privilege. Even though privilege is neutral, unchecked privilege is bad. Unchecked privilege results in entitlement, denial of its existence, defensiveness, and preserving a status quo that systemically disadvantages others. Checked privilege, on the other hand, can be used for good. I hate to break it to you, but if you're sitting here watching this virtual course at this moment, you are privileged in one way or another. Like, you probably have internet and a device to watch this on, and most likely a safe space to sleep at night, and access to healthy food and clean drinking water. The vast majority of us have privileges, lots of them. This includes allies and partners. But having privilege is not a bad thing, because not only does our privilege work to our advantage, but we can also use our privilege to provide advantages to others. What privileges do you have, and how can you use them for good? Go to your playbook at this time and open the worksheet titled Using Your Privilege for Good. Coming from a place of gratitude, think through all the incredible privileges that you have in your life. Then, reflect on ways that you can leverage your power and status to help others. If you're the partner, also fill out the third part, how you lack certain privileges and ways you can possibly leverage your ally's privilege to help close those gaps. Once you completed the worksheet, give yourself a pat on the back. This work is hard, and it's never done. Being aware of in-groups and out-groups, taking an intersectional lens to viewing others' identities, and checking your bias and privilege is all work that we must do every day to be better allies and partners fighting for equity and social justice. And you're doing great. If you need a refresher, I encourage you to revisit the section's videos and playbook activities as often as you find it helpful. Now, let's put all of your excellent inner work to good use. Join me in the next section where you'll learn how to make meaningful connections with one another across difference.